Alright, y'all, what's going on? It's another day in paradise here. Um, I kind of just wanted to share something with y'all that kind of bothers me, but at the same time, it's, I don't know, it's definitely some kind of dilemma. Of course, there's absolutely nothing that I can do about it, but, anyways, so the other day, I own a contracting business, and I have like a property maintenance division, and I am at this property in Ohio, and these people are moving in, and we kind of let them move in, even though it wasn't like it still needed a couple of things done to it. You know what I mean? But they were needing to move in because of whatever they had going on in their previous place. They needed to get out of there pretty quick, so they ended up moving in, and I was actually in the apartment working when the U-Haul showed up, and they started moving stuff, blah blah blah, and everything was fine. You know, it wasn't no big deal or nothing. And I met everybody. You know, I met the mom, and I'm not sure if it's the dad. Might have been like the stepdad or something like that. But then there was two kids. One looked like he was, 16, 17, 18. Actually, take that back. He's 18 because mom ended up saying, "Well, you're 18, so you can do this, that." And the other one, I'm not exactly sure how old he was. He had to have been 14, 15. Um, and I had conversation with that kid a couple of times. It seemed like he was pretty intelligent. He actually knew what I was talking about whenever I was talking about the laws of attraction, and just kind of allowing things to happen, positively. Very short-lived conversation. But anyways, he was like outside playing with like the other kids. It's first day, and he's like outside with all these kids that he's never met, and he's playing like he's known them his entire life. You know, like the definition of what a kid's supposed to be. You know, um, imagination. They were like under a trampoline, and they were like, you know, it was like a fortress, and they were like running around from there to the tree house and stuff. I mean, what I used to do when I was a kid. I'm 34. I don't see kids doing that too much anymore, but I don't pay attention to a whole lot of kids besides my own kid. Anyways, so it was, the kid was just being a kid, and helping his parents move the stuff from the U-Haul and stuff. Well, as I go inside, I'm working on light fixture, and the kid from upstairs comes down, and there's a dog. Whenever I was going to walk in the house initially, there was a dog, and through the door, he looked fairly, mean. And I'm not one to judge dogs by no means, but no by no means. But I've been mauled, and so I asked her to put the dog up. She gave me this just backwards look, like, oh my god. And so she went to go put the dog up, and she was telling me that he wouldn't bite, and that's fine. I understand most dogs are not going to bite, but when you've been bit from a dog that you never thought would have ever bit and attacked, you kind of, eh. Anyways, so dog goes upstairs, and continue to do what I'm doing, and he comes down, and the dog got out, so I'm up on the chair and changing this light out, and this dog got out, and its hair on its back and its tail is just straight up. And I've got dogs, and so I know that the smell of other dogs can kind of amp them up a little bit more if they're already antsy. And I was kind of standing there, and the lady didn't say nothing, but the older kid, was like, "Hey, mom, get your dog," and she was rude. And he said something like, "Well, I'm not going to get that dog. It's going to bite me." And I look over at the kid, and I look at her, and she's still looking at her phone. And I was like, "Hey, can you get your dog?" And she stood up in a rude manner and a rude tone, and screamed at someone else to come get the dog. They didn't come get the dog, so she just took the dog upstairs or whatever. And for which I'm grateful, even though maybe the dog wouldn't have attacked me, but nonetheless, this has absolutely nothing to do with the dog. So we're gonna move on here. And the kid was like, "Hey man, are you hiring?" And I was like, "Yeah. I mean, I'm always looking for a little bit of help. Especially if I get busy and around this area, I could use some help. It's three apartment buildings, and there's plenty of grass and stuff that's got to get cut around here, and garbage cans need to be tended to, and leaves need to be. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, property maintenance, And I gave him one of my cards, and I was like, give me a call, might be able to put you to work here soon or something. And I don't know. I didn't really think a whole lot about it, and you know, ended up leaving. And the mom and I, that's just a different story. The mom, you could tell she didn't care about anything, and she was, I'm pretty good at reading people. And I know that, it might be stupid of me. Well, he's saying that he's good at reading people. No, look, I'm good at reading people. Period. And I used to think that same thing until I've been proven right so many times. I'm not perfect. I'm not right all the time, but reading people is definitely a specialty of mine. And you can just tell. And the stepdad or the dad, I ain't never in my life. I mean, he just moved in. Actually, he hadn't even actually moved in. He cussed out the property manager, And he was super polite to me, obviously, He come out there trying to say some stuff. I ain't got time for. I'll be in there in a minute, I gotta go to other apartments, and that are actually like water leaks and stuff. So just let me get to you. And he seemed like he was fairly nice at first. But once he signed that lease, it was like totally different. And that's how usually a lot of tenants are. And that's no offense to another tenant, because I myself am a tenant. Well, I have a mortgage, but technically I'm a tenant to a mortgage company. And, we dealing with tenants definitely opens your eyes up. It definitely opens your eyes up. Understanding different points of view, why things happen, how they're happening, etc., 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 But when someone is intentionally doing things and not. Well, I never got a good vibe from a whole lot, but that kid, he was desperate. I could tell. That's why I gave him my card. I mean, I usually don't just give my cards out to random people and like, here, I'll help you get a job. I'm struggling. You know what I mean? It's not that easy, but I could tell the way that kid, the 18-year-old kid, he wasn't being mean to his mom, but he was telling her, like, hey, please do this and it'll help things. He did it like 5 or 6 times. I wasn't trying to butt no conversation. Really, the only conversation that I had gotten into about was with the dog play. Hey, please come get your dog. And I conversated with him about a job and stuff like that, And this morning, I went across to another apartment and started working on some other stuff. But this morning, I get a phone call saying that somebody, passed away in one of the apartments over there, and, who lives in something, something. And, I was like, this. Well, come to find out, I don't even know how legal this is, if I can even say this, you know what I mean? But come to find out, the 18-year-old kid that I had given my card to murdered his little brother. Now, I don't know the situation per se, but man, just knowing that I don't know, like everything that I encountered that one day, the conversations that I had, the thought of him being desperate, it was like he had been screaming for help. And, I know from personal experience, I've put myself through a lot of pain. And it was, what's the word I'm looking for? It was uncalled for. It should have never happened. And that kid, I knew right when I heard that he broke. He completely broke, because no one ever showed him how to do it on his own. I mean, to me, whenever he asked for a job, it was like he wasn't really asking for a job. It was like he was asking for a job to get his mother's attention. Which might sound stupid, but now that I look back at it, it kind of all makes sense. And I, I don't know. I mean, I feel bad, absolutely, but it's not like I could have done anything. I'm not saying anything like that, but, you know, who, the kid's 18, they're going to charge him as an adult, period, point blank, end of sentence. But the way that I look at it is that kid, even though he was 18, didn't have the mindset of an 18-year-old and had no idea how to handle it. And no one ever showed him how to handle it. Mom was too busy, you know, I don't know, smoking crack. I don't know, that's just that vibe that I get. Dad wasn't there. Stepdaddy was a prick asshole, and I mean, he didn't look like he had a whole lot of friends. I'm not one to judge, but I don't know. I just know that even though he did it and is responsible, and this only happened last night, today, I just get this strong instinctual feeling that those parents are somewhat responsible for not showing that child the difference between right and wrong and how to live a life of, I don't know, just how to live their life in general. A lot of people, and this is myself included, get so caught up in everything else in their life and their world that sometimes we forget about who is actually important. But there's a threshold that us as adults and parents should all be aware of. And, myself, of course I do things for myself, but everything that I do in my mind, I do it for the betterment of my family. And for someone not to want their children to be intelligent and to make decisions based on their situation and circumstances instead of what they want or what they need, or etc., or maybe they just didn't show them because they didn't give them. I mean, I don't know, but whatever the situation is, it's no excuse to not help your child become a better person. I know that my daughter is never going to grow up perfect, and she's going to make mistakes just as daddy and mommy made mistakes. But as long as we learn from those mistakes and we show our children, to learn from that mistake instead of just constantly doing it, like you can't show someone that if you do something repetitive that you get in trouble, but that's just you just get trouble. That's just what happens when you do that, People will grow up and do things, go to jail, get out and do it all over again because that's just what they know. That's just their punishment. They're going to put up with their punishment in that general aspect, and that's just not something that is healthy for anyone. The community, the family, the intermediate family, the school. We should always try to raise our children to have respect, and that, if you want something, you go forward with it. Anyways, I got a phone call coming in. I just wanted to share that, y'all. Update. So, I just found out what happened. I mean, how he died. And rest in peace, bro. So the 18-year-old kid that I given my card to that I knew. I just I don't know. Anyways, stabbed the little brother to death because there's blood all over the wall. There's blood all over the floor in like multiple areas, not just like one secluded area, like multiple areas. Like he was running, doing it. Everyone was running. Oh man. Man, the more I think of that kid was so desperate. And that's just horrifying that that happened. But in some way, those parents are responsible for the lack of everything that they've given them children. I don't know. I just wanted to give y'all an update. Y'all, I do have one more thing I want to add to the story. Um, so there was kind of a scenario change. I ended up finding out a lot more about it. But the 11-year-old was laying on the floor in a sleeping bag, obviously because they just moved in. And the one upstairs, apparently, the 18-year-old apparently has been in a mental institution before. And they released him and didn't have him on his medication because they were moving places, and someone who I'm not going to name should have kept on that. But nonetheless, no pointing fingers or nothing. The guy had an episode of just walked downstairs and stabbed the guy, the boy. So he didn't just get stabbed once or twice. He got, this is kind of detailed, but he got stabbed in the chest. He got stabbed in the back where the kidney is. And from my understanding, this is what the stepdad told me, that he stuck it in and maneuvered it from his rib cage to his spinal cord, and it's left a big old gash. I'd probably say 1.5 inches wide is what he said. And also didn't slit his throat once, but he sliced it twice. You know, whenever he went on the news, he was laughing. He was saying this is ridiculous about his bond. He had told the judge, he was like, I'm grumpy. You know, I mean, I don't know. I had to go in there and rip up all the carpet, the rest of the carpet that the hazard cleaning company left in there. I got to paint the walls. I had to replace the subfloor, some of the subfloor. You know, I'm standing in there, and you know, I'm a philosophical person. You know, I've always been somewhat philosophical, and I find compassion in everything, and I can feel, you know, whatever it is inside of there that's left there, because it's there. I didn't really realize it, but you know, I had my music playing, and I got down on my hands and my knees ripping that carpet up, and wasn't really thinking about it, but I'm running this blade over the carpet, and they removed all the carpet that had the blood on there, so technically it wasn't like exactly where he was, but I'm like running that blade over, and man, I promise, dude, my kidney hurt so bad. I had to like stand up like it was like a spasm or something. It really didn't last nothing that long, but it immediately was, you know, because I had just had the conversation with the stepdad about kind of like the details of what happened, you know. And for the record, I did not go around asking this guy, just put it out on the table like that. As a matter of fact, me and one of the residents that was there was just looking at each other like, wow, he's just so detailed, you know. Anyways, but you know, my kidney was hurting, or whatever it is back there was hurting, and you know, it enough for me to stand up and be like, okay, now I'm gonna make it look better. I'm not, you know, But nonetheless, it was a very interesting feat, and a lot of weird emotions run through in that moment, you know. I didn't really know the kid again, but you know, it is. It was a life experience. It was definitely something that I had not foreseen, or even thought that I would ever get upset about, as much as I have, considering I didn't really know the kids or the family. But the only thing that I can reconcile in my mind is that it was some kind of, not guilt, but I don't know, you know. Anyways, I just wanted to give an update.